Hey everyone, welcome back to an episode of A Place to Come. It's been about a week, I think, guys, that I haven't uploaded. So I think my plan is to continue like this, do one video a week. But I might like deviate from that on a certain week, just maybe do an extra video. I'm going to play it by ear, okay? But so last week we left off at the point of let's see, where was I on my paperwork? Where we were talking about all the steps and kind of stages that you're going to be going through when you have a child that has a disability. Now, I wanted to talk about some other things this week, but something came up, and I really want to address it on this video. Now, the thing is that this is something that comes up a lot. Now, what I'm going to be talking about today is the stage of that when you have a child, whether it's an adult or a younger child or whatever it is, because if your child is in a group home, a group setting, a group home, whether they're 8 or they're 28, there's a lot of stuff that you have to navigate. Okay, Jennifer will be in her group home 2 years next month. 2 years next month. I think it was June 13th she went. So it's 2 years it'll be, okay? Now, the thing with putting, that's not really a word. That's not really how I want to say it. It's not putting your child in a group home. It's putting let me try to think of the word that I want to use. There's a place and time for everything. We contemplated not contemplated, made the decision probably when Jenny was about in her late 20s, I would say close to 30, that we even thought came into our mind about transitioning Jenny into another home. It's a very, very, very difficult thing. If you're a parent, never mind, if you're just a parent of everybody that's, self-sufficient or whatever, it's hard enough to watch your child walk out the door and live their own life and not be responsible for them and not, worry. I mean, you worry constantly when they're not with you. Oh God, I hope this doesn't start happening. For some reason, sometimes when I start videoing, all of a sudden I get this yawning attack, guys, and I don't get it. So I might have to pause for a minute. I just hate to be yawning constantly on film, but sometimes it does happen. So what we're going to be discussing, and this is kind of, in the middle of everything. Like I said, on this channel, it's not going to be completely stage after stage after stage after stage. It's going to be, I'm going to do stages, and then I'm going to go off the realm, and I'm going to do something else. And this is what's happening this week, because I want to talk about some of the difficulties that you will have with transitioning your child into a group home once they're in the group home, whether they're there 2 months or whether they're there for 5 years. There are going to be things that are going to come up that are going to be difficult to handle and difficult to navigate and all of that. And I'm telling you here that you need to get perspective and find help in these areas, because I'm 2 years in and I'm going to God right now. I'm going to God and literally my Bible group, my ladies' Bible group, I'm vulnerable with them, and they're helping me navigate some emotions that I'm having right now. And that can be turned into not so good things if you let it fester inside of you and not try to rationalize it and navigate it and and figure out your emotions, because this is what affects you is going to affect your person. I'm going to say person, child, care, because there are caregivers, there are aunts and uncles that take care of kids that are disabled, or people that are disabled. They look over them. That it's not always a mother and a father. It might be an aunt, a sister, an uncle, a friend, whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to refer to it how I refer to it. How I refer to them, and then you could put it into your own area. 1 second. Now, it's kind of hard because I don't really know who watches this, and I want people to watch this, but I don't want to offend anybody, and that's not my intention. I'm not giving any names or anything like that. But if you are associated with me and my daughter, and you know us, you know certain things that I'm gonna say who it is or whatever. I'm not saying anything derogatory or mean or anything like that. I'm just telling you my experience, and that, oh God. So I'm out here outside. I come outside because it's nice and peaceful, I thought, and the neighbor across the street now is starting to drill. They're yelling and screaming. Guys, it's ridiculous. I just hope I can continue out here because it's so peaceful, and I don't want to sit in the closed up house. I just feel like being outside because it was been gloomy and the sun's out and it's blue skies, kind of cloudiness, but it just feels good to be out here. It really does. I got to spend so much more time out here. All right, so now when we made the decision to have Jenny transition, it was a very quick thing. I'm not going to go over that right now. I've been going over that a little bit here and there of how it happened. I still have to do a video on that, of how we transitioned her and how it happened and all that. But the thing with having your child, in my situation, it's my 38-year-old, really 36-year-old child, Jennifer. Now, she went to the group home 2 years ago, like I said, a month shy of 2 years. And the first year was hard. Hard as, if I can say, hard as anything. Because she was with us for 34 years. And she was ours, and we were responsible for everything. And me mostly, but everybody helped. But I mostly was her caregiver, did everything, and it was one hard situation. So her name was on a list, on a waiting list, because if you want your person in a certain area and a certain kind of group home, there are certain things that you're looking for that have to fit in with her life, their life, the house, and with Jennifer. So to find that is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It really, really is. And it's really, really God's will when it happens. It's God's will when it happens, and it's God's actions, because all these things, it's like a puzzle. You have to get all these puzzle pieces to fit into a spot before the puzzle will be finished and will be good and will be done and will be how it's supposed to be. This is what happens when you're looking for a home for your disabled adult person or child, whatever, guys, for your person. So we had her on a list, not expecting anything to come up. Because, I speak to her coordinator all the time. I was speaking to her, is there anything? No, there's nothing new, nothing. Haven't heard from anything or anybody or anything yet. I'm going to check and all this stuff. So as far as we knew, guys, there was no prospects. So Jenny's in 2 programs. So she comes home one day and she says, Mom, I'm not going to use his real name. Joe said to me that he heard that somebody left or something, one of the group homes that my friends go to. And what she meant was 3 of her friends that she went to program with were in this group home together. And Jennifer would go there when they dropped them off at this group home, you know. So he told her, he said, tell your mom that, you know, there's something going on. There's an opening at this group home. And I think Jennifer would be great there. She gets along with the girls. She goes out. She's in program with the girls. She knows all the girls in the house. It's a perfect place for her. Please tell, you know. So Jenny's told me, and she told me, she, like, you know, mildly. She's like, Mom, yeah, John said to do this, you know, and I said, oh, okay. Well, I'm sure if it's anything, somebody will contact me or whatever. So I really didn't take it seriously. I really didn't, because it was coming from Jenny. I know that she said Joe told her, but, you know, it wasn't like a major thing or anything. So anyway, I just ignored. Not that I ignored it, I just didn't really pay attention too much to it. I didn't really put any vigility in it, is that the word? So anyway, a couple of weeks went by, and she said to me, Mom, you know, Joe said, have you spoken to anybody about the opening yet? And I said, Jennifer, no. What do you mean, Jen? She's like, Mom, Joe said that you gotta tell Susan, who is I'm gonna use her different name. I mean, I could use her name, Kelly. I use her name all the time. Her coordinator. She says, you know, he said, did you talk to Kelly about it? I said, no. So it was bothering me. Like, I gotta ask Kelly about this, because I you know, maybe there's some validity in it. I mean, it's coming from Joe, who I know very well, and who wouldn't just say it if it's, you know. So it kind of like a light bulb went off in my head. Like, ooh, I really should say something to Kelly about it. So I call Jenny's coordinator, and I get on the phone with her, and I'm like, Kelly, yeah, I'm like, you know, Joe said that Jenny said Joe said that there's some sort of opening in a house or something. That Jenny goes to program with, and she knew nothing about it. She's like, Linda, I know nothing about this. Now, you would think, since Jenny was on a waiting list, or she's a coordinator, that somebody would contact somebody in the area, but no, nobody knew about this. It was an opening. There was 5 girls in the house. There's 5 girls for that house. One girl, we left it because she was transitioning to an elderly place because she was older. You know, she was an older woman who needed to go to the next level of, you know, of olderness, whatever it is. And anyway, so there was an opening. But nobody knew this. There was no opening. You know, nobody knew of this opening. So Kelly was like, oh my God, Linda, I will look into it, because, you know, I know somebody that knows somebody that goes or whatever. So anyway, to make a long story short, I'm not going to go into detail about that. She said, let me look into all this, and I will get back to you. Well, she called me back, I think, either that day or maybe the next day. And she said, Linda, I know, I spoke to one of the ladies, and yes, there is an opening, and it sounds like it's perfect for Jennifer. She said, but, you know, the thing is that, like, they have to accept Jennifer, and Jennifer has to, and we have to accept these you know, accommodations that come within this house. It has to be what we're looking for. It has to be what Jennifer's looking for and what they're looking for. But in all, it was a house that almost was supposed to be like fit Jennifer like a glove. It was a house with other people that were independent like Jennifer, not as cognitively high. I think Jennifer would be the highest of you know, the highest of the highest cognitively in certain ways, physically and all of that. But it sounded like a place where she could grow and she might be happy. So there were things, everything that, if there were 5 things or 10 things that I wanted in this house, I would say everything that there was, let's say out of the 5 things, we checked 4 things. There was one thing, and it happened to be a really, really big thing. The thing that it was that they couldn't accommodate was really a big thing to me, to my family, and to Jennifer. But all the other things, guys, and you have to know that it's very difficult to find a group home that is perfect. There's no ever group home or place that's going to be perfect for your person. As much as you want it to be, you're living in a fantasy world. it'll happen once in a lifetime. And it came very close to happening with Jennifer. Okay, so the one thing that I and we and me and my husband and Jennifer especially really wanted was, give me 1 second, I'll tell you. Drinking a lot of water, I'm thirsty. Was, guess what, guys? Her own room. That was like first on the list. Her own room. Her own room. And in this house, that wasn't possible because the girls that were there before Jennifer have been there a very, very long time. And I guess the girl that left, the girl that was there the longest, got to have that room, and that was a single room. So there's 4 girls in the house other than Jennifer, 2 share, and one had one room and one had the other room. And so Jennifer had to go in have a roommate. Now, like I said, wasn't really what I wanted. So, but we went there because we went and checked it out because everything else was a check. Okay. So we had to go there and we had to see the situation, see what it was, see the logistics, meet everybody, check out the environment, just get the whole thing. We had to go there for our meeting, for everything. So that's what we did. It turned out that, again, it wasn't the perfect place, but it was the right place as far as we thought, and we discovered, and we figured it definitely was the right place. Okay. The atmosphere was really nice. It was in a beautiful, nice house off of the road, safe. The area was nice, only about 15 minutes from me. At the time, Julie lived about 8 minutes from Jenny. It was really, really a nice place. I liked the manager of the head honcho of the house. There were staff there. You can't get used to the staff really because the staff come and go. They could be there a year. They could be there 3 months. Somebody leaves, somebody comes. The staff is kind of the type of thing where you have to get used to, and you have to kind of learn how to navigate that. And I have, and I did, and I continue to. Because that's something that's very important that you have to be able to do. Because in all, it is a job, and people come and go, okay? So that's the most difficult thing about this situation, okay? So the house was good. I loved the house. It was open. It was clean. It was, it just was nice. I liked the fact that she knew all the girls. It was easier for her to transition. She knew them. She felt comfortable. She was ready. And also, guys, your person has to be ready. Sometimes they're not ready. If they're not of sane mind, they might not know they're ready, or they have no choice to be ready because of certain aspects of their disability and all of that. But Jennifer was ready. We were talking to her about this for like 3 to 5 years. She was ready, and she knew that at any time coming up that she was going to go to a group home. She wanted to, guys. She was very excited. She wanted to. We were grooming her for this. So she wasn't totally in shock, but it did come as a shock because it was a very quick process. Okay. So we went through all the logistics, everything. It was, my whole family was there with me. Julie, was Frankie there? No, Frankie didn't go. It was me, Julie, Darren, Bill, and Jennifer. And my husband and I mainly, and Julie, decided that this was the right place for her, and it really, really seemed amazing. We heard nothing but good things about the house from professionals, from people, from all over. There was nothing, and the lady that her coordinator had spoken to first knew about the house, had never had any complaints about the house, loved the manager, the head lady, loved her. and we heard nothing but good things, okay? Nothing but good things. So it was really, really, really like, God saying, you know what, this is it. This is it, And the room thing was a little bit of a disappointment, but the girl she was with seemed to be, not really on her level. I would say below her level cognitively, but sweet, and they loved each other. They got along. They were very, very good friends and all of that. So it seemed like she was the most easiest going. So I was like, I think they'll get along. And, you got to try things. You're not going to know unless you try. You know what I mean? And everything else was really good. The main things were the safety, the house, the staff, the manager, the area, the everything, feeling safe and all of that. So that was all the most important stuff. So we decided that this was the appropriate place for her. God willing, God thank you, hallelujah. Because I'm telling you guys, God knew that it was time. Jennifer had become very, very defiant, very difficult with me, not letting me, it was a really hard situation. And I'm going to go through that one day with you guys and let you know how we got to that point and how it was so hard as you get older and they get older, and and mistakes that I made and we made, and all of that stuff. But that's a whole nother video. This I want to go through just briefly. So anyway, Jennifer's been there almost 2 years now. In the 2 years that she's been there, the first year was really hard because, number one, you're passing your person on to strangers that you don't know. You have to deal with her emotions as far as, is she going to miss us? Is she going to cry? Is she going to cry to come home? Is she going to be mad? Is she going to be crying? Is she going to be upset? Is she going to be all of these emotions that you don't know what the heck's going to happen? You literally don't know what's going to happen because you don't know in the reality of when we close the door and walk out of that house, how she's going to feel. And that was like, I didn't sleep for nights. I don't think I slept well there, until maybe 4, maybe even 6 months, really. Really, it was really, really a scary thing because, as a parent, and I'm speaking for myself right now, as a parent of a disabled child, and especially if they're vulnerable, we were lucky. People say, oh, Linda, you're so lucky because Jennifer, her therapists, her counselors, her people, all the people that were, that helped with Jennifer, always said that we were lucky that she was able to communicate, because even friends of Jennifer, they're afraid of this transition because they don't know how much their child, person, or whatever can communicate or will communicate. So you don't really know what's going on, and that's even scary for me. Even with Jennifer being very, very verbal, it's very scary for me too, because let me tell you something. She is verbal. She, I think, tells me everything, and I still worry. I still question her and I don't really believe she's 100% honest because of certain things, certain personality traits and all of that. So you just have to be a helicopter parent. But you also have to back off a little bit. You have to be a helicopter parent, but you also have to be looking in from the window and not always involving yourself in the situation. And that is so hard to do. Just imagine with a child or a person that has their own mind and capacity of rationalization, of taking care of themselves physically, emotionally. Just think about that. And them being a normal, sound mind person, taking care of themselves and having those capacities, and how you want to run in and save them. Think about how that feels just with that normal person. Then think about that person that doesn't have the full capacity to make rational decisions and maybe take care of themselves emotionally, physically. Think about how that would feel just for a minute. I'm going to go silent for a second, and you tell me what that would feel like in an instant, what that would feel like in your heart. And if you guys could answer this question, How would you feel for 20 seconds of what it would feel like to turn your person over to somebody, a stranger that you don't even know, for a day? Comment down below if you could. I'd really appreciate an answer to this. How would you feel about doing that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, guys. Now think about what your answer is and jot something down if you can. I would really, really, really appreciate it. You don't have to do it right now. If you want to do it, you know, you might want to write it on a piece of paper, then later go on and comment, and I'll check out the comments later on or a couple of days or whatever. If you could please answer that, because that and answer honestly. What would it feel like to you? Just, even if it's just one word. One word. That's what it feels like for somebody who has to hand off their person to an ultimate, to a stranger who's going to be taking care of your daughter or your child or your person for days and days and nights, every minute of the day. Yes, you're there watching and looking from the window, from the far window, from the, you know, but you still have to close your eyes at night and put your head on your pillow and know that everything is good and everything is safe. And unfortunately, in the world that we live in today, there ain't no guarantees, okay? There ain't no guarantees for anything. So just think about how hard that is. Think about how hard that is to leave your daughter at college, leave your son at college, leave your niece at college or your granddaughter or whatever, and know that they'll be safe. You don't know that they'll be safe 100%. You don't know that. You don't know what they're doing. They go out, they go here, they go out with their friends, they go to parties, they get in trouble, you don't know. Just think about that, and you can relate to that, okay? Because that's double trouble. That's triple, quadruple of it, because your child is so vulnerable, more vulnerable than even a child, an adult child, a person who has all their faculties, okay? That's what I'm going to say about that, and that's all I'm going to say, because I think you guys get it. You guys are very smart. I know my group is smart, so I don't have to keep repeating that. So, yeah. But anyway, so Jennifer, briefly, Jennifer, you know, everybody has certain likes, and somebody doesn't like cheese, somebody doesn't like pepper, somebody doesn't like clams, somebody doesn't like mustard, somebody doesn't like mayonnaise, somebody doesn't like tuna fish. Everybody has their own likes, right? Okay, now these are adults that are, you know, in their 30s, 40s, 50s. These are adults who have the same rights as everybody else. And when we went into the house, there were certain things that we agreed upon. There were certain things that were told to us that we agreed upon for Jenny for us to put a stamp on this position, on this situation. Okay? There was a stamp that we had to stamp to say, okay, this, and this, and this is what we want. So this and this and this is why we're going to put the stamp on this transition to this house for Jenny to live in. First, everybody has moods. Nobody's perfect except our God, Jesus, Lord Christ. He's the only one that's perfect. So if he was the caregiver of that house, I would be able to sleep like a baby. I wouldn't have one worry in the world, because I would know that he is a perfect person, that nothing would ever go wrong. There would never be a misunderstanding. There would never be an accident. There would never be a a hurt. Jennifer would always have what she needed and wanted, and she'd be safe and all of that, okay? I would know all that. But because that's not the way real life is and real people are, because we're all sinners, that's a whole nother video on a whole nother channel. We know that people aren't perfect. And I know, because I am a logical, rational person with a brain that is rational. And like I said, I know that Jennifer is, there are going to be incidents that are going to come up, that are going to happen. Nobody's perfect. I am aware of that. And I am, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word that I'm trying to use. I'm a forgiving person. I know that things aren't always malicious, and that things happen because they happen, or it was an accident, or, it wasn't meant for somebody to do that, or I know they're not doing it maliciously, or it wasn't done by purpose, which is the same thing as, an accident. So I know all this, and I know, and I'm not the type of person that's gonna say, well, she did that maliciously, But you're also, when you're in a position that you are in, when you are leaving your person with somebody who you don't know that person. They could tell you blue in the face. People, they have background checks. They have this. They have that, and then a person in a nursing home turns out to be a monster. You don't know these things, guys. Even the people that hire these people don't know these things. So you have to be your child's advocate. 100% you have to be your child's advocate. That's what I'm saying. So you have to be aware of what's going on, because you're the only one. And if it's not you, like I said again, and I say this over and over, if it's not you, you got to have somebody has to be there, whether it's the state, it's a counselor, it's a friend, so I don't know, guys. I don't know, but there has to be somebody that's looking out for somebody. There has to be, okay? It has to happen, because it's so important. It's so important, okay? Because no matter what, there has to be somebody that has to speak up for that person. I don't care if they're a relative or if they're not a relative. Please, okay? I can't express that enough. I could sit here till I'm 105 and say that, and it'll never be enough. So anyway, I'm going to move on from that, but that's really, really important. Okay, that's number one on the list. There has to be an advocate. And so anyway, we were told certain things, and we knew, like, and this is even to the point where what she's going to have for dinner, or what the plan is for planning for that, like planning for certain things, outings, and all kinds of things, safety, and bathing, and medicine, and all that stuff. I don't even have to mention all of it specifically, but you know what I'm talking about. Living in the house on a daily basis, and things, the routine, and all of that stuff that goes on. You have to know about that. That has to be important, and that was all settled on, and we agreed. Now, the problem is that, again, when you're in a group home, it's a lot of, when you hear, like, people, like, describing people from Florida, everybody says it's a transient, I think that's the way you pronounce it, transient state, that people come and they go, and they don't really spend, they may stay 5 years and then they leave. They may stay 3 years and they leave. People don't stay a long time there because it's a come and go type of state. This is what a job is, and this is in reality a job. Now, some people do it for the money, okay? Some people do it for the love of doing it, because they love to take care of the elderly, the people, let me tell you something. I worked as a caregiver, and I was a very compassionate, loving, warm person. And let me tell you something. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. The hardest thing. When it came to having to do physical things for them, there was a point where I had to do certain things in my position where I'd had to help them in the bathroom, maybe help them, with the bathroom stuff, like with, with physical things. You know what I'm talking about, showering and helping them. I did it, but it was hard for me. It was hard for me, and not because I didn't want to help people, because that's why I was in there. That's why I took the job. It wasn't a very high paying job. I needed a job, but it was a job that was flexible for me. And and first was a job that I thought it was more of a caregiver. Go in and you cook for them and you shop for them and you give them their pills and you talk with them and you help them or you take them shopping. But it turned into more of where I would have to do some clients. I had to do more, and I just had a hard time with it. And I really did dread it. And I just felt like I couldn't be my best and do that. So I had to leave eventually because I just couldn't do those type of things. And that was required. It was required. So I couldn't do it. But anyway, these are the things that I'm talking about. If you have to be a type of person to do those things. Otherwise, you will become resentful and not really want to do it, and do it half-ass, not do it with your heart, not be compassionate, not have empathy, not be concerned, and do it just to get it done because you're getting that $15 an hour. Whatever it is, guys, whatever it is. And that is scary to me. That literally makes me want to panic and go pick up my daughter and bring her back and stick her on the couch in my living room with no room right now. Because it's the scariest thing that you ever want to imagine. Your child or somebody in your family, your loved one, your person being hurt or anything. And that goes for anybody walking into your person's house. A caregiver. Me. Like, I walked into somebody's house, I was a stranger. I had background checks, I had this, I had that, and then I could have had a bad day and been cranky. Maybe I wasn't so nice that one day. I'm not saying that I did that, but that is what I'm talking about. These are things that I'm talking about that are natural and behaviors that people have that you can't always control. Maybe you had a bad day. Maybe before you got into the house, you had a fight with your boyfriend. You had a fight with your mother. You found out you're getting evicted. You found out your bank account's withdrawn. You found out you're losing your job. You found all this stuff that you bring into your job, and you're not supposed to. Yes, we know. I worked at Stop and Shop. I knew that once I walked in that door opened. I wasn't supposed to not smile and not bring my emotional stuff and my personal stuff into my job. But did it happen? Yes, it happened a lot. And I had to check myself a lot and say, listen, you Linda, you have to stop this. People, because I was there for so long and people knew me and they were like, what's the matter, Linda? You seem down today. You don't seem your happy self. You're not smiling, And I was angry, and I was taking it out on my customers, and that's not fair. And I would say to myself, God, stop, Linda. And I would change my attitude, and I would have to turn it around and then after doing that, I felt better. I felt better because the sun is behind me. I felt better because my emotions got better, and I didn't feel like I was so angry. I let it go, and I was smiling, because I had to, but yet it made me feel better. So, but this is what I'm talking about. It's not just walking into a job. You're having emotions that play into your position. What if they're difficult? I had one man that hit me. I had one man that wouldn't cooperate. It was a husband and wife, and the husband was he cursed, and he would get violent, and it was rough. And, so you had to hold your cool, too. You couldn't, if he hit me, I couldn't smack him. It's just not the way it goes, So it's not even laughable. It's not. But what I'm trying to get to you, for you guys to understand it. There's emotions that come within this job. And like I said, nobody's perfect. So regardless of how good of a person you are, how compassionate, how loving, how warm, you are not a perfect person. Nothing is perfect. Your person isn't perfect. Jenny has temper tantrums at times. Jenny has difficult things that she has to go through, that emotions that she'll cry and she'll yell and she'll lose her cool, and she'll say things and that she shouldn't do either. But that's what scares me too. Like, are they gonna, it's a chance that they could. And these are the scary things, guys. These are the scary things. Will it most likely happen? Probably not. But could it? Yes. Guys, I know she's my daughter, and I've had difficult situations where I've had to cope. We've had to cope. We've had to walk away from the situation, get in my car and go somewhere to cool off, or just because the emotions and everything is so, so difficult. And that's my child. That is my person. So there you go. Okay, there you go. All right, I'm just going to pause 1 second. I'll be back in a second. Hey, guys. So it's the next day. I had to cut the video yesterday. You'll see the difference in my outfit. I was wearing red. I had to get dinner going, and I thought I would be able to get the video up, but I just couldn't get it up. There was so much to do with so much time. Here we go. I can't let this yawning. Hi, buddy. Hi. So I'm just going to finish the video now. It's the morning, next day, the morning. Me and Julia go out for little girls, half a girl's day. She's still sleeping, though she didn't feel good last night, so hopefully she'll get up and feel better, and we could still go. But yeah, so let me get moving on the new video, the rest of the video. I'm not having coffee right now. Right now I'm having some water because I think when we go out, we're going to get an iced coffee. So I don't want to have a coffee, and I don't want to have 2 coffees. Besides, I can't have a hot coffee because most of the time it gives me, the D word, and I don't want to take a chance of doing that while I'm out. No fun. So just drinking some ice water. All right, so where I was when I left off yesterday, I left off at, I think at the point where I was saying that you really got to be your child's advocate, and somebody has to be there to watch what's happening and all that. So, the first year was really rough, like, navigating everything. Like I said, next month will be 2 years that Jennifer's there already. And a lot has changed in the last, 2 years. A lot has changed since she started there. Staff has come and go. A few staff that's come and go, and some incidents that happened that with a staff member that Jennifer had an issue with, and she ended up having to leave. They moved her on to a different group home. So I'm not going to get into the situation with that, but it was, something that shouldn't have been done, that was done. Nothing physical or anything like that. Jennifer's fine, otherwise she wouldn't be there. Believe me. Jennifer was fine, but it was something that was, the staff broke one of the state's rules. And, Jenny's in a state group home. She's not in a private. They're a private and they're a state. States are better because they're very, very regimented, and they're very, they watch everything, and they, everything is written, it's just really, really, it's better. It's a better scenario for somebody, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, professionals' opinions. So yeah, so anyway, that's where Jenny is. But anyway, she broke the rules, and she, there were consequences, unfortunately. And so they had to move her on to another group home. But she didn't lose her job or anything. She didn't, it wasn't anything bad. It's just something that she shouldn't have done, and she did. Anyway, let's move on. So I had an incident. This incident that happened is something that's kind of happened a lot, but few and far in between. And it might happen more than I even know, because I'm not privy to every single thing that happens, because Jennifer tells me what she wants to tell me. You know what I mean? She tells me a lot. She's very, very, very vocal and very, she informative. She tells her mom a lot, but there are things that she doesn't tell me because she doesn't want to cause conflict or anything. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to shut this zipper because I don't want the mosquitoes to get in, because it's morning, and the mosquitoes, I mean, they can get in anyway. Yeah, because there's all openings on the bottom, so it really doesn't even matter. So I'm going to leave it mostly halfway open, so this way Cooper could come in if he wants to come in, because he'll just barrel through anyway. You're not going to keep out the mosquitoes 100% because there's all, there's no way. So I'm fussing with my hair a little bit. I put some of my stuff in it, and it's just curly. All right, so there's this incident's been happening. Now the thing is, I was telling you guys about the food, and how they can choose what they want to eat, but there is a nutritionist there, and there's certain things that they have to. There's certain menus that they make. They have to have a carb, or maybe like a protein or whatever. So anyway, Jennifer doesn't like certain things. Like everybody has a dislike and a like of what you like. So if I don't like, let's say, peanut butter and jelly, am I gonna eat? Should they be putting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in front of me? In my opinion, no. It's not the type of thing where you just you have to eat what your mother puts in front of you. No. She's an adult. If she doesn't want peanut butter and jelly, or she doesn't want red sauce, which in this instance, that's what it was about, red sauce, then she shouldn't have to eat red sauce. And the thing is that this is happening a lot, and they know, and the staff that are there are there for a while, so they know the situation. Anyway, they put something in front of Jennifer that she doesn't eat, so she said, "I don't eat red sauce." They put spaghetti in front of her with red sauce and a salad, which is perfect. Salad is great. I love when they give them salad, So she had spaghetti and salad, but Jennifer wasn't eating it, so they noticed, and they're like, and then the boss came out and said she's not eating it because she doesn't eat red sauce. So the staff should have said to Jennifer, there should have been a couple more options. Jen, do you want a chicken patty? Do you want a burger? Do you want some nuggets with your salad? That should have been asked, but instead she went to the cabinet and she got an instant mashed potato and she put it in the microwave and she gave Jennifer that. So Jennifer had a salad and mashed potatoes. That's not a meal. That is not a meal, and they know that, That's what bothered me. And the fact is that I would have never known if Jenny didn't come home and tell me. Jennifer was saying, "Mom, she gave me spaghetti with red sauce, and I told them I don't eat red sauce, and they know I don't like red sauce." And I'm like, "So what else did you have?" And she gave me mashed potatoes. I said, "Okay, wait a minute. So you had an instant mashed potato and salad for dinner?" "Yeah, Mom, that's what I had." Now, the manager was there, so I said, "What happened? Did the manager, I'm not going to say her name, I'll use Carol. Did Carol come out?" And she goes, "Yeah, she came out and she asked me if I was okay with it." And I said, "I'm okay with it." So I ate it. But she was complaining to me that she wasn't okay with it because Jennifer doesn't like to speak up a lot of times because she's afraid. She doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. She doesn't want to cause any issues. She doesn't want anybody to be mad at her. So it's difficult. But they should know that at this stage of the game. She's there almost 2 years. The lady that is there the lady that did it, the staff member, who is very nice and I like very, very much. She knows, she's been there a while. She knows Jennifer doesn't eat red sauce. Okay, so get on the ball. Get on the ball. So, like I said, I wouldn't have known anything about it. I pick my battles because you have to pick your battles when you have a person in a group home, a nursing home, because there are things that are going to happen, that minor things that I allow to happen now that aren't such a big deal, but in the beginning were big deals. So I do pick my battles, and they know that about me. Carol knows that about me. I don't complain about every little thing, but I complain about the things that are important to me because I feel that they're important to me, that they're important to Jennifer, for Jennifer's well-being and Jennifer's life there. She's a human being. She still has wants and needs and all of that. And, it's very weird because they'll say, "Oh, she can't have this, that, and the other thing." But then, she's supposed to have a protein, a carb, and a vegetable. But then, so why didn't she that night? In other words, if the nutritionist said she was supposed to have a protein, where was her protein? She had salad and a mashed potato. That's a carb and a salad. So what I'm saying is these things shouldn't be happening. and I got a little frustrated, and I didn't really give anybody any grace. I did, but I didn't. You know, I didn't go off and crazy and all that, but I did go to Susan and say, I mean Carol, and say, you know, this happened, and I just want to make sure that there is an alternative. That if Jennifer, first of all, it shouldn't be happening, because this is, she knows that, everybody knows that Jennifer doesn't eat red sauce. Number one. Number two, it, you know, there are mistakes that happen. People have bad days. You're not always on, but you know, this is important stuff to me that needs to be rectified, and that I wanted to make sure that she had another option. And she said to me, like, are you upset because Jennifer was upset about it? I said, Jennifer was upset. She didn't tell you guys. She told you guys she was okay, but that's because she didn't want to cause any issues. But she was upset because she was telling me she was upset, and she wanted to have something else. And she said, are you upset because Jennifer was upset, or are you upset because you want to make sure she has an alternative? I says, both. Yes, both. And you know that I want her to have an alternative. There has to be an alternative in the freezer, and they're supposed to have a list. Like, they, you know, if she forgot, go look at the list. Like, I'll put a list there. I told them that I would do that, and they say, oh, they know they have a list. Well, you know what? They really don't look at it, obviously. That, and you know, it's just that to me is just unacceptable. So I, you know, made a big deal about, not a big deal. I didn't make a big deal, but I was in my Bible group on Tuesday, and I told everybody, you know, because we share, we're very vulnerable in there, because the Bible, when we're reading the Bible, we're figuring out how to bring the Bible and the Word into our world. So by not giving the personal staff that did it any grace, by maybe going to her and not going to Carol, the manager, which I don't think is a good idea. I think going to the manager is better, and just letting them know so they can rectify it and fix it or whatever. And I don't really have the opportunity to go to the staff. I could, if I see her one day there, you know, by accident, when I drop Jenny off or pick Jenny up, I could. But it's nothing that I can, you know, to make an appointment to go see her. So I go through Carol, who is the manager and who I trust immensely and totally. I would say I trust her 98%. You know what I mean? There's always a little percentage. So that's what I did. But it was said in Bible study that maybe I should have gave the staff member a little bit more grace, and I could have been maybe kinder. I thought I was very kind. I didn't, you know, I didn't say she did it maliciously. I know for a fact that they don't do things maliciously, and there are accidents and things that happen, and I always talk to Carol about that, and she knows that about me. I don't pick on every little thing, but the things that are important to me and I feel are important for Jennifer's well-being is things that I'm going to talk about, and I'm gonna expose and fix, you know, and go to fix. It's a difficult position to be in, guys, because you also want to be careful, because, you know, like I said, they're strangers, and you don't want them to take things out on your person. And it's hard for them because they're not family. They're, regardless of, they're compassionate, they love their job, they're not, whatever it is, it's still a job to them. And it's still, they have to have patience, compassion, and they have to have that all the time. And they're human, and we're sinners. So humans sin. So it could happen where something could happen. So it's just a very, very scary position to be in. And you really have to just give all your trust to them. But you also have to be aware. You have to, these are the rules that you have to do. You have to go there when you're not scheduled to go there, when they don't know you're going there. They just drop in all hours of the night, all hours of the time. Drop in, check on your person, see what's going on, ask questions, inquire, you know, all that stuff. You have to. And if you don't, you can't close your eyes to it. Because if you do, you know, some things could happen, and it's not fair. It's not fair to your person. You know what I mean? What's the matter, buddy? Come out of there. I think it might be thundering a little, and Cooper's gonna be scared. He's probably gonna have to go in a minute. So, what this video is about was just be aware, be your person's advocate. If you have a question, and listen to your gut. Listen to your gut and get to know the people there. Get to know them. Get to know the routines. Get to know all of that, and express to if your person can communicate to you, then you know always try to ask questions and in a roundabout way or whatever, or just always have your eyes and ears open, because also you can see differences even if your person is not a big talker, can't really communicate. You know, there are persons that can't, and you have to really be aware of what's going on. And I pray to God that everybody has somebody like me or somebody like that's there for them. But like I said, whether it be from the state, from an aunt, an uncle, a friend, somebody who's appointed, like I'm saying, just be aware, guys, and be aware and just have knowledge. Knowledge is the best thing. So that's what I'm saying. Knowledge is the best thing. So, you know, I felt a little bad after the Bible study, because I felt like the girls were like, you know, you could have been a little bit, you know, and I feel like maybe I could have gave them a little bit more grace, you know, and like they say, what if God was sitting there, what would have God did? I think that God would have wanted me to address it, but I also think maybe, I don't know, I don't really know if I could have done it differently. Wasn't mean. And the girls, you know, in the Bible study, my girls, they understand and they get it, but they don't to a point, because they're not going through what I'm going through, you know, physically, emotionally, and all of that. But as far as the Bible goes and what God would want, maybe I'm going to pray on it and see, maybe I could have handled it differently. I don't know how I could have, but I will pray on it, because I want to do what God wants me to do. And I want to act like as if God was sitting there with me. And that's what being a Christian is. So, yes, guys. So that's the story with that. But that's why I wanted to come on. Just be an advocate for your person, your child, your whatever. Be there and make sure that everything's okay. And don't feel guilty if you miss something, because it's not easy. You have your own life. You know, you don't always see everything. You're distracted. But maybe like set up a time where just one day you go there and you look around and you listen. Just listen, you know, and just be there. And you know, and they have to accommodate you. You're able to go in there. Like I could go in there and take Jenny out of there anytime I want. Oh boy, it's thundering. I'm gonna have to put Cooper in the house. I'll be right back. All right, people. Yes, it's thundering, so I had to let them in. Okay. So I'm going to end this video. I hope it was very informative. If you have any questions or anything, please put the questions down below. Please comment down below and comment to that question like I asked you earlier. If you can, guys, I'd really, really appreciate you commenting about the question about taking 20 seconds and realizing that your child is with, or your person is with, a stranger, and then how that would feel if you didn't know what was happening every moment. You know what I mean? Even though when your adult child leaves the house, you don't know that as well. But just think about how vulnerable that person is, more vulnerable, because they might not have the means or the rationality to speak about it. So please, 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 if you could answer that question, I'd really appreciate it. Please like and share these videos. Tell your friends. I don't know, if you're in the disabled community, like you're an aide, or you're a staff, or you know, like in Jenny's programs, like people, you know, spread out the word. A place to come. Please, guys, on YouTube, please, please, please spread the word, because I really just want to help people. Like and share and subscribe. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. It's not detrimental that you subscribe. It does get my videos out there more though if you do that. So that's really helpful, but you don't have to. Again, tell your friends, tell your family members, and God bless all of you. And be an advocate for your person, and just be aware, guys. Okay, I love you guys so much. I'll see you on the next video. I'll be back. I have one in a few days, probably another week. I do one a week. Try to, and I might do some in between. It just depends. I hope you guys are having a great day. I love yous, and keep going. And God bless all of you. And be aware of what's going on in your situations. Love yous. Bye. A place to come. Bye. Hey guys, I'm back for a minute. I just realized I said a red shirt. No, I had a pink shirt on yesterday. Not a red shirt. I had a red shirt on after for my what's for dinner, so I got confused. But anyway, love yous. See yous on the next place to come. Bye.